Den Pateke.
Micah Richards has fast become the most popular figure in football, with his infectious laugh making it difficult not to love him. Once touted as the biggest potential in English football, his career has had many ups and downs, as I'll let him explain.
Your career goes like that. Mine went like that, then like that. Like some people.
So how did the career of a man who never eats breakfast go from cameo appearances in music videos to being the only person on TV who can make Chris Sutton seem alright? That's why I want to know, just how good was the career of Micah Richards? Richards burst onto the scene at 17 and caused quite the buzz about the potential of this young English right-back. Even FIFA knew it, but then again, I did get Nani to a rating of 100 and Aguero to 99 whilst playing as part of a double pivot, so it might have been my managerial prowess, but who knows. He made his debut for Man City in October 2005, coming on for the last 5 minutes in a defeat to Arsenal, and he'd made himself a regular by the end of the season, even though they were doing quite poorly. Until the end of the 11-12 season, he was their first choice right back. But over the following 2 years at the Etihad, injuries and competition for his space saw him rarely play, and he was loaned out to Fiorentina for a year. He came back and joined Aston Villa the following year and was immediately made captain. But after 4 disappointing years, for a variety of reasons, he retired in July 2019 and took up a role at Sky Sports to bring his punditry to our screens and a smile to our faces. Micah won the 2011 FA Cup and Premier League the very next season under Roberto Mancini. He missed out on a winner's medal in the 2013-14 Premier League triumph as he only made 2 league appearances that season. Micah Richards was nominated for the PFA Young Player of the Year award in his breakout season 2006-2007, but lost out to a player who's dropped off the radar a little bit ever since. He started the next season off well though, as he won the Player of the Month award for August 2007, as his City side conceded once in 4 games and found themselves second in the table, just ahead of Heskey's Wigan. Micah was born in Birmingham but grew up in Leeds, evident in his accent.
Creamy coleslaw goes down the treat, doesn't it?
He was a striker in Leeds' youth system until the age of 8, and after swapping to the right side of defence, played for Oldham Athletics' youth side before joining Manchester City at the age of 14. He started playing for England's under-16s and reserve team before signing a professional contract in 2005, where he would sometimes play in the youth team, reserves and first team all in the same week, which he admits may have had an effect upon his injury prevention and longevity. He grew up an Arsenal fan because of Ian Wright, but little did he know that he would share so many similarities with the former striker, with his personality and infectious laugh making him a fan favourite on our screens. Micah made his debut for Man City at 17, coming on for the final 5 minutes in a 1-0 loss at Highbury in October 2005. He wouldn't play much until the February, where he came up from the back to head a last-minute equaliser in the FA Cup against Aston Villa, where he got so excited he swore in the post-match.
Oh, it was just great to be out there. I just can't believe it.
By the March, he'd established himself as a regular starter, in a side that lost 8 of the last 9 games of the season, but mainly due to a lack of goals at the other end of the pitch. He signed a 4-year contract at City to start his breakout season. He was a regular first-team player, and his England under-21 debut in August was closely followed by his senior team debut in the November, getting his chance due to an injury to Gary Neville. At just 18, this made him the youngest defender to ever play for England, as he was praised for a mature performance in a 1-1 draw with the Dutch. A couple of injuries this season didn't see his importance in the team tarnished, and as previously mentioned, he was nominated for the PFA Young Player of the Year, but lost out to one Cristiano Ronaldo. Still just 19, Micah was about to enter the busiest 4 months of his career. The start of the 07-08 season saw him pick up the PFA Player of the Month award for some solid defensive performances. The September saw him become the youngest captain in his club's history, stepping in for an injured Richard Dunn. It also saw him score his only goal for England in a Euros qualifier against Israel. In November, he stars in T2's music video for Heartbroken, pulling up to a mate's house in a Land Rover. And if you haven't seen this, go and watch it in all of its pixelated 240p glory. It's a song that can best be described as the soundtrack to underage drinking, or that song that got Bluetoothed around your school. Also, do not miss out on the comment section, it is absolute gold. In fact, pause at any moment in the next 3 seconds for a perfect summation of what it's like to grow up in the UK. Then just before Christmas, Richards was in the tabloids for sexual antics in a hotel's disabled toilets, but was let off from his manager with only a talking to. And which manager was that, you ask? Of course it was Sven-Göran Eriksson. Who else was it gonna be? Knowing him, that talking to was probably just a high five, some womanising tips, and asking why there was just the one lady friend in there with him. This may have had something to do with his absence from the England team from then on, as Capello had just taken over from the sacked Steve McLaren. By March, City was sat in 8th and fighting Harry Redknapp's Portsmouth for the final UEFA Cup place, but Richards got injured and was out for the rest of the season. Both managed to make European football though in the most complex qualifying English football has ever seen. Everton qualified by finishing 5th. Aston Villa entered the Intertoto Cup instead, as they were the highest finishing club in the league to offer to play in the competition. Portsmouth and Spurs qualified by winning the FA Cup and League Cup respectively. Then the Premier League were offered an extra place after topping Europe's Fair Play League, which was given to Manchester City over Blackburn because Blackburn were the most carded team in the league that year. My word, what a headache. He was again nominated for the PFA Young Player of the Year award, but this time lost out to Cesc Fabregas. That injury also meant that he took no part in that infamous 8-1 thrashing at the hands of Middlesbrough on the final day of this season. Pablo Zabaleta joined Man City in the summer of 2008, but Richards kept his place even though Sven was replaced by Mark Hughes. He was a key figure in the squad over the next 2 seasons as they finished 10th and 5th respectively, with Roberto Mancini taking over in December 2009. Not long after, Richards was the first Premier League player to contract swine flu. Just some random trivia for you. With Mancini in charge of his first full season, alongside signings of Silva, Toure, Kolarov, Balotelli and James Ribena-Milner, Micah was still first choice right back for a team now challenging for trophies. They won their first trophy in 35 years in the form of the FA Cup, with Micah so excited he rolled back the years and swore in the post-match again.
Look at the fun. They've been there since day one.
They also got top 4 and qualified for the Champions League for the first time since its rebranding. Micah said that the dominance of the Manchester derby turned after the 6-1 win away at Old Trafford at the start of their title-winning season, with Micah having only recently said that they could challenge them for the title just months before. He always found a way to be at the heart of the derby. Whether it was scrapping with Darren Fletcher or kung fu kicking Nemanja Vidic, he always loved playing United. Micah kept his place and was first choice for most of the season, until Mancini started to favour Zabaleta towards the end of the campaign, who was featured over Richards in the famous QPR win as City sealed their first Premier League title. During the following season, however, he lost his place to Zabaleta and a knee injury put him out for the rest of the season. He was plagued by injuries over the following 18 months and never really got back into the squad, and had to look elsewhere for regular game time. In September 2014, Richards joined Fiorentina on a year's loan with an option to become permanent, joining the likes of Juan Cuadrado and Marcos Alonso in Florence. He admitted on Joe Hart's Gloved podcast that he did this to prove himself at the top level. He joined former City defender Stefan Savic, who was a right centre-back, but only made 10 league appearances due to manager Vincenzo Montella swapping to a back 3 as soon as he joined the club. Savic would occupy that right centre-back role, and when they did play a back 4, Montella would swap between Richards and Serbian Nenad Tomovic. He avoided injury at Fiorentina and was their regular right back in their Europa League campaign that year, but he wasn't given the chance to make an impression in a side that now included Mo Salah. Upon returning to Manchester, he may as well have gone straight to the West Midlands, as he was signed on a free by an Aston Villa side that had just escaped relegation. He was tempted to Aston Villa because of their fan base, and that their rather strong squad was frankly underachieving. But as he signed in mid-June, the squad he was promised to join started to be dismantled. Darren Bent had just left, Andreas Weimann left the next day, and captain Ron Vlaar left 2 weeks later, meaning that Richards would swap from right back to centre back and take over as the new club captain. The week after that, Shay Given left, And the week after that, Benteke left for 32 million and Delph went back on his word and left for Man City, causing the entirety of football Twitter to call him a snake. The team was torn apart, and after being linked with Adebayor and Aaron Lennon, the players they signed as replacements, namely Adama Traore, Jordan Ayew and Idrissa Gueye, sound great by today's standards but were inexperienced and didn't cut it at the time. Richards took the brunt of the abuse from fans, as any great captain does, rather than the owner and chief executive, whose fault it really was. Micah sadly received racist abuse online at this time and closed down his Twitter account as a result. And Villa went on to struggle all year and finished rock bottom of the Premier League despite their captain's best efforts. He could then have left the club as teams were willing to pay his release clause, but he stayed loyal. He didn't feature much the next season due to a knee injury reappearing for the first half of the season and being sidelined for the rest by Steve Bruce. Bruce kept him out of the squad for the 2 following years due to concerns over his fitness after coming back from injury, and he retired at the end of the 18-19 season but wasn't finished with the game we all love just yet. Micah's international career did coincide quite nicely with the end of Gary Neville's international career, but Capello didn't fancy him for whatever reason, so he only has 13 England caps, so there's not really any stats to talk about there. It is a position that England struggled with at the time right back. They don't quite have the same sort of riches that they do nowadays. So looking at club statistics and focusing on top flight stats to be consistent, I thought I'd start with goals conceded per 90 minutes, so hours of scrolling through transfer market with every game he ever played, seeing if he was on the pitch at the time and seeing how many goals he conceded per 90 minutes. So for each top flight season, I did goals conceded while he was on the pitch divided by minutes played. That will give you the amount of goals he conceded per minute, and then timesing it by 90 to give you the goals conceded per 90 minutes. This is more of a team statistic, and you can see that in the graph. You can see that Man City are starting to get more and more competitive each year until they win the title. A couple of seasons can be ignored by the lack of appearances he made. In 2012-2013 he makes 7 appearances, all against relegation fodder. That's why that stat is so low. And he only makes 2 appearances in 2013-14. At Aston Villa he is conceding over 2 goals a game, but they're bottom of the Premier League, and the club's transfer dealings had left them up a certain type of narrow area of water flow without a wooden propulsion utensil. I then went to clearances per 90, which just highlighted how much football's changed in the last 10 or 15 years. 11.9 clearances per 90 is huge by today's standards, but the just shy of 300 clearances that Micah made that season didn't even crack the top 25 in the Premier League that year. And Martin Lowison clearly lived by the words, if in doubt, kick it out. That 739 is still a Premier League record, and it's one that I do not think is ever going to get broken. Nowadays, James Tarkowski's 200 clearances is enough to top the stat leaderboard, as teams has kind of shifted towards playing it out from the back a lot more. Another stat that doesn't change as much is tackles made per 90 minutes. You can see this trend as Man City start to dominate possession more, he needs to make less tackles every season. But to compare him to another young English defensive-minded right-back in Aaron Wan-Bissaka just finished the 19-20 season making 3.77 tackles per 90 minutes, which is better than any of Micah's seasons. To compare him to the current Man City right-backs, Cancelo has just made just shy of 3 tackles per 90 minutes, but Richards is far ahead of Kyle Walker, who's making just over 1 tackle per 90 minutes. The only thing that stands out from his goal contributions is that 6 assists in the title-winning season. Mancini may have been taking inspiration from Pep's Barcelona and pushing his fullbacks further forward. 6 assists in one season for a fullback is a lot for 8 years ago, and this is way before Pep came to Man City and started throwing 50 million at every attacking right-back the world had to offer. Micah's career is a weird one, because without being plagued by injuries and different managers, we could have been talking about a player who held down England's right-back position for 10 years. His career went like that, then like that, but it could have been so much different. This isn't a player whose career ended too soon, this is a guy whose career has only just begun.
That's not fair, that, because he didn't give me that. He didn't give me that.
If you like this, then do subscribe for more, as every video has the same 5-part format on a different former player. Give me your Micah rating and who you want to see next down below. I'm going to give Micah's career a rating of 58, and he's going to join the other 2 on our scale. So thank you for watching and enjoy Micah's top 5.
Richards. McCarthy got a hand to it, but he couldn't keep it out. And the goal was so simple in the end. His third of the season.
Well, it was a great header. It was a decent ball in, not a great one, but the movement and the power of the header means McCarthy's got no chance whatsoever. And I thought about it when J-Tab cleared the ball off the line earlier on. I want to have two men on the post. If he had done that, I'm sure he would have got it out of the goal.
Collar off with a corner. Dangerous again. No, this one was low. Oh, it's 5. And what a finish from Micah Richards. Well, 3 was harsh on Notts County. 5 is absolutely outrageous, but they are blundering goals late on here.
Yeah, it's a great finish as well. Really good finish on the right back. And again, it's from another set piece. Collins can't believe it sitting from the bench, how poor they've been seeding the goals. And there's 3 players there, yet somehow Richards has got the time to take the touch and get the finish. I mean, great finish as it is, and Stuart Nelson's got no chance whatsoever.
There is one final thrust forward from the visiting team. Comes down to Richards! Oh my goodness gracious me! Almost 5 minutes into the stoppage time, Micah Richards gets the equalising goal. The silence at Goodison is deafening.
Just by keeping the ball alive, keeping the momentum going, they can't believe it, the City fans. He's done it at Villa Park, he's done it at Goodison Park as well. Richards, right place, right time. The young man, he anticipates well. What a finish that is. On the bounce, they just keep the ball alive, they just keep the momentum going. But what about this for a finish? On the volley, pick that out, 1-1, Man City.
It's Joey Barton with the corner kick. Towards David James. It's there! It's unbelievable! It's Micah Richards who scored the goal! What an unbelievable story! The 17-year-old has earned Manchester City a replay. It's a fantastic moment for a kid making his way in the game, making his first steps in the Manchester City side, and he's kept them in the cup with a bullet of a header in stoppage time at the end of the game.